It was a journey no Rangers fan will ever forget. A Europa League run that took the club all the way to Seville and en route was marked by some nights at Ibrox that will go down in history as among the greatest ever. Former players Kenny Miller, Alan Hutton and Kevin Thomson were there for many of them and reflect on the adventure. Welcome to Currie Club, the Scottish Football Sessions.
Guys, great to see you and to get a chance to chat about something that's probably still raw for all of you guys because you watched on at close quarters when Rangers made that remarkable run to Seville, and of course it ended in agony at the very end. But what a season it was, Kenny, overall.
It was an incredible campaign domestically. Whether we'll see another season like that or no, I mean, it remains to be seen.
I mean, it's actually crazy to think about. I mean, we were obviously doing some of the live games, and when we went back and said, it's 10 years to the day they're lifting the title in Division 3, to going on an unbelievable run to make a European final was just incredible. And not only that, to see the development of some of the players coming through and the standards that they set it was great to be a part of, and the whole emotion and everything that went on through the season, Walter Smith, Jimmy Bell, to be part of that and feel it within the stadium was just incredible.
You played in the previous final. Rangers were in UEFA Cup final, Manchester, and again the team got so close. What was it like watching on this time, Kevin, and did you ever think you were going to see it again?
I suppose you always think that you won't, Darrell. I thought when we got there in 2008, it almost felt impossible. I think watching the boys on the telly and the emotion, I was looking forward to seeing Kenny and Coisty's celebrations at the end of the final. That would have been a good one.
Where was your dancing?
That was off camera. Mine's was off camera.
That
made sure I'd done it off camera.
That was the bit that I was looking forward to the most. I'm one of the people that want to see people do well, so to see them fall short was gut-wrenching. And
just working our way through it then, so Sparta Prague, done. They know they're going to qualify. They're in the knockout stages, but they can't top the group. They go to Lyon, they get a draw, which is also, I think, important for Van Bronckhorst because it continues that undefeated in Europe, that little run that they were on under him. Borussia Dortmund, probably the one side you don't want. Erling Haaland obviously didn't play against them in the end, but still, what a talented team Dortmund were. And that night, I think, was it Rory Hamilton, the line, Dreamland and Deutschland, that famous commentary line now. I mean, what a game, what a night that was. Maybe that's the night the Rangers team really started to believe.
James Tavernier came out and spoke about it, the belief that started. If you go somewhere they were the favourites. They were definitely up there. So if you go to their home patch and play the way they did, took the game to them, scored 4 goals, and I mean, it was a great game to watch, great game of football. Yeah. See, when you're a footballer, like, you kind of go away, well, I did, from being a fan, it's the only way I can say it. You just watch the football differently. But when I'm in Ibrox and I'm watching some of the European games, and I'm jumping up and down with the fans and cuddling them, and yes, this is brilliant, like a fan. It was crazy for me to feel that way, because I haven't felt that way in a long, long time. Yeah. So to get that feeling back, me personally, you can only think what those boys are going through at that time.
That moment in Germany was every player buying into what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was. Yet only 14, 15 days prior, I watched the boys at Parkhead and they looked lost. I questioned what was the game plan, what were they doing, how were they going to stop Ange, how were they going to win the game, changing to 3-5-2, and I have to say he needs to take a massive amount of credit for one, changing small things, but getting the group to believe in it.
So next up, all of a sudden, it's probably a draw that Rangers wanted. They get Red Star next. They come to Ibrox first of all. Another mental game, if you remember, the early stages at Ibrox. Red Star looked like a phenomenal team.
Brilliant game. Again, atmosphere was sensational, and they got the job done, as much as that first 20 minutes was wild. Yeah. Absolutely wild. Once it settled, again, their nose in front, they got a bit more control and obviously won the game.
You played away in Belgrade as well. Were you away?
Yeah, I played there.
Played in Belgrade. Yeah. So you needed to take a good advantage there.
Well, I remember talking to people, fans, supporters, what's it like over there? And yes, it's a hostile atmosphere, but you remember the walk out, the tunnel, and all the armed guards are all there lining the tunnel, and you're intimidated walking out. That's the feel you get. So knew it was going to be difficult, but going back to the Ibrox game, I mean, it had everything, sending-offs, VAR, goals, penalty saves. So you're just thinking, what's the second leg going to hold?
Do you remember the second leg?
Yeah, was it the best performance? No.
McGregor was fantastic.
We were there.
Brilliant saves.
Yeah, we were there, and it was a poor start. They scored early on, and you're sitting to think, oh no, what direction is this going to turn in? And it wasn't a great performance. Greaves came up at big times. I think he had a big save before half-time. Well, it was a scruffy goal at the end. We always knew, again, there was an opportunity that they could score, hit on the counter.
With Ryan Kent?
Exactly, because we were saying at half-time, get the ball to Kent, get it in behind, cause them problems. And he did. It was a scruffy goal, but they all count.
And then onwards again, you're thinking, who's next? Who do you get next? And Braga came out. And once again, you're probably going into the match thinking, Rangers are maybe favourites here, albeit that Braga side had some amount of talent in it.
Braga, when the teams that were left, it was probably
Barcelona.
you would edge towards Braga to get in the draw, and obviously facing Braga a couple of years ago as well, and beating them. And the thought behind that team is that this Braga team might not be as good as that team that came a few years ago, albeit they were, like you said, they were an
Won a
outstanding
great run.
team.
Carlos Carvajal in charge, and a great run at
They were
that
in
time.
a brilliant run, but
Defeated that night, but stayed in the game, if you remember. And that also came, I think, just after Celtic had won at Ibrox. So once again, regardless of what we've just said about Borussia Dortmund and the manager, tactically excellent at times, question marks were being asked again about Van Bronckhorst.
There's always going to be question marks.
Yeah.
You go across there, you get beat. Remember, that's the first loss of Morelos. So that's, I think, obviously affected them. But 1-0, they're still in the game.
Yeah.
So we
Pressure
know,
was on, but in the game.
Exactly.
And it set up another incredible Ibrox night, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what a game that was.
Yeah,
It looked
no, I
like
mean-
the tie was done, Braga score late, take it into extra time, down
Yeah,
to 10
remember
men.
Carmo, the
then
header, to take it into extra time, and you're thinking, oh no, you're starting to worry now. Like, they've come back into the game after a great start from Rangers.
you know what it's like in Glasgow, it's constant pressure. So leading into that week is, if we get beat on the Thursday night, and then if we then lose the semi-final on the Sunday, our season's done, because the league's getting away from us, and all of a sudden we're out of the Europa League, we've lost the Scottish Cup semi-final, Celtic are 6 points clear in the league. It was billed as a real make-or-break week for Rangers and Giovanni.
It was billed as must win.
Absolutely.
Must win.
Absolutely. And then to go there, and by the way, come at the traps flying again.
Yeah.
And,
Well, Tavernier, 2 more goals.
Again, another 2 goals, and coming at the traps flying. Should have been 3 or 4 in game done. All of a sudden, they get the goal late on, and it's extra time, and they have to dig deep, and they eventually get there, and then leads them into a semi-final, having to go the same again. So it's went from a real make-or-break week to an outstanding week that's now built you towards, obviously, a Scottish Cup final and an opportunity to go and make a Europa League final.
Darrell.
Yeah.
Golden boot, right back.
Well,
Crazy.
I was building up to that, but I tell you,
Crazy.
I mean, what from a right back's point of view, it wasn't just the goals either in that competition. Obviously, some penalties, but some of the other goals that set the tone, nights like the Braga game at home. But his performances overall, probably the best he produced for Rangers in this European run throughout the whole season.
Not just his numbers. Kenny was lucky enough to wear the armband at Rangers. The prestige and the weight that carries. If the team underperforms, even if you're the best player, you still get criticised. It's just the way it is. And it's such a big prestige that everybody would want to be at. But to know lots and lots of Rangers fans that have knocked him over the years, his performances, and they've been up and down.
Defensively as well, question marks.
Of course they have.
But he was
has he
fantastic
improved?
defence.
That's the
well,
difference.
during this Europa
That's
League
when
run,
you
he was
ask
brilliant
yourself.
defensively at times,
Yes.
wasn't he?
To me, it was undoubtedly his best season in a Rangers jersey.
Just to finish the story then, the Braga game, because obviously it does go into extra time. Kemar Roof gets the goal, then against 9 men to put Rangers through to the semi-finals. And as you've already mentioned, the question's been asked ahead of the game, because what was coming next was Celtic at Hampden in a semi-final. To go the 120 minutes and then to go again and to defeat Celtic again at Hampden, and that the momentum just kept on building for Rangers at that time of the season, onwards onto Leipzig, away from home first. And they were the form team in Germany at that point. I think they'd lost once against Bayern Munich in the previous 3 or 4 months domestically.
They got undone by a very good goal, Angelino, with a volley. I mean, it's one of those ones. It's obviously difficult to take as a player because you've worked so hard to earn a result. But they had opportunities within that game as well, and I think we've seen enough to know that the second leg would be different.
That was, I think, a kind of Walter Smith-esque performance on the road, wasn't it? The game in Germany, the way they set up that night. There was almost a bit of a spirit of Walter Smith with them throughout the season.
I mean, the club and the fans and everybody connected with the club had been put through the ringer over the year, obviously with the passing of Walter, and then the sudden news that Jimmy, our kit man, had passed away on I think it was the Monday night or early into the Tuesday morning. People like Jimmy Bell are the heartbeat and the soul of a football club. No, somebody had been, I think it was about 36 years, had been at the football club in different roles. Gio talked about him when he first came to the club, that he was the bus driver, he was the kit man, he was he had the shirt and tie on, driving us to the game. He's the first guy, and and he would be the guy you would go to for anything, and these kind of people, I mean, are absolutely irreplaceable, So you seen with the emotion on the night where everybody connected, the fans were there early, there was an atmosphere building up towards kick-off. You seen when Glenn scored the goal, again, what it meant to everybody involved as well. So it was always going to be a highly charged atmosphere, and I think, speaking even before the game and definitely after the game, it was a source of drive. The place, I think it was 45 minutes after the every fan was still in the building.
They were still dancing with Ali.
It was they were still dancing with Super
That's
Ali
one of
and the
those
players
moments,
in the
wasn't
corners.
it? Him dancing and that shot going on TV. I mean,
you know, it was incredible.
I'll tell you what, I'll come back to those scenes in a moment, but just on the game itself, you mentioned Kamara scoring, Tavernier on Kamara again, setting the tone, Rangers ahead in the match, playing some fantastic football. Van Bronckhorst going toe-to-toe with him that night. The way he set up, it was almost man for man as well. It was brave to do that. They were 1-0 down, but that was the belief he showed in his team.
Yeah, but I think that's the belief that he had. Like I said, he kept them quiet.
Do you remember it 2-0 up? What you said to me about the fans around you?
So,
before Nkunku equalises for to make it 2-2 on the tie.
So I'm in the stadium, and obviously, good start, scored a goal. Kamara, bang, second one. So everybody around about me is thinking, we're going to the final, phones are out. You know, you can't get a reception. People have phones out, looking up flights, getting the flights. So they're like, right, phoning people, right, try and get me a flight, try and get us a flight. So everybody's working to get flights. And Nkunku goes up and scores.
Cancel the flights.
Oh no!
What's the refund options?
Oh no! And then
You had Keegs in our ear, right? We're getting ready to get the flight sorted.
And then
Producer sorted the whole trip.
That's what I think. Was there 10 minutes between the goals, between Lundstrom's goal? So obviously the panic had now set in that these prices for the flights are incredible. People are starting to book, and Nkunku has scored. The emotions of everything that's going on. 10 minutes later, Lundstrom puts the ball in the net and it went crazy. That's what I said about being a fan again.
The final 10 minutes from when the whistle blows that night to Ali dancing, to I saw tears in your eyes. Ali was gone, wasn't he? I think because of everything as well, what had happened that week, he was absolutely gone. He could hardly speak to begin with. I mean, it was incredible to be next to you guys on that night because I saw what it meant to you. But everything that happened, fans still say that those 10 minutes are some of the 10 best minutes of their life because I think they could hardly breathe during the game.
We obviously all know Griggsy quite well, and you see Griggsy bouncing on the pitch, and he's...
I think it was Griggsy that got Ali dancing, actually. I think
Griggsy's obviously, everybody loves him to bits, but he can be quite... win a game and just wants to go home, Griggsy, can't he? So
neither up nor down, he just kind of stays at a level.
To see him dancing and see him actually singing his heart out. I've won titles with Griggsy and he just wants a beer, doesn't he, and to get in the changing room. So to see him like that just shows you how special it was.
It's funny you should bring that up. I was up in his box with his family, and you know what he's like a big dafty sometimes, and he strolls up.
Sometimes.
I was trying to be kind to him, and he strolls up, full gear on, shinnies, get his gloves, full hang, celebrating. Like, that's just him all over, and it's the emotion of the whole thing. Yourself, Coisty, to see that other side of people, it's just great to see.
It was like a out-of-body experience now, thinking back on it, that I see myself in that corner, I'm hanging off the railing because I thought, this is it, and I'm hanging on. Coisty's on the other, he's leaning over, we're on train.
Just if you can put in towards what Glasgow as a city, well, maybe one half of the city was like after that Leipzig victory, the anticipation then, the build up to Seville.
People are getting planes, trains, automobiles, flying to Turkey to come back to Ireland to this. It was mayhem trying to organise it, never mind just the build up. But I think from a player's point of view, you obviously have to keep the head, work hard, but the fans, that's the excitement, that's what it's all about. It's not just the event or getting there, it's about the build up to it.
I remember going back into the centre that night, everyone seemed to be on it, on a night out, on a party sort of thing. It was absolutely nuts. But the next thing is, your phone's going all the time. Yours probably was as well, and you. How are you going to get a ticket? I mean, everybody was asking, people you've not heard from for 10, 15 years, I was at school with, all of a sudden getting my number and asking for tickets.
Did you get them?
No, it's impossible. We had Ali McCoyston the day of the game, didn't we, saying, have you got 2 more? And he said, he's only got 2. He probably had about 22.
He only had 52.
Exactly.
I think that the players need to take a lot of credit, Darrell, for 4 times extra time. It tells you that the preparation and what was going on outside didn't distract from how the players prepared for the game. Of course, the players would love to be on a Thursday night with Coisty and Kenny and wherever they go nowadays. But the way the players focused and how Gio and his staff managed the group to continue to push on and push on and push on for every hurdle that come their way.
And then Seville, because we were over there together, weren't we? And I think, 2 days before the game, but it just kept on building. The first day we were in the city, a lot of blue jerseys. The second day, you couldn't walk more than 10 metres, but you were getting stopped in 40-degree heat. Photo, autograph, chat.
You never forget it. It was an incredible 2-3 days we spent in Seville. When it all started, being at the airport early in Glasgow, then everybody's there.
Lots of cups of
Airport
tea.
is pandemonium. But you'd be walking along, because it's all these wee thin, narrow streets, it was incredible. You'd be walking through and you could just hear, I'm feeling it coming up here, somewhere up the top left corner. You're like, and somebody would be shouting over, you're like, what's going on? But there's people above you, like 3-4 stories high, and it was just Rangers fans, Rangers flags lining the streets. It was every apartment. There was red, white and blue flags out. There was music's pumping out of the things. It was an incredible experience, you know. Like, I mean, I had a friend who was on a stag do the weekend before it, and where was he? He might have been Benidorm, and then they were just staying. The whole week, you know, and how they got there, it was like the bus for here to pick these guys up for there, and then they're coming down there, and afterwards he still wasn't home until late the Friday night. I mean, some of the routes the fans went, and the dedication they've shown to support their team it was impressive. It really was.
The heat, I remember as well, wearing shorts and ties and blazers on there
Sweating.
that night. They're standing next to you and Ali, you know, and Hargreaves. I mean, sweat was rolling off Ali's forehead in particular. But it was brutal conditions. And there was an expectation in Rangers that they could perhaps see it through. Look, it was agony in the end, but they could not have got any closer, Al.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in terms of performance, I don't think it was up there with some of the ones that we've seen along the way. I think just maybe on the day, not enough had turned up, which is a shame. It really is a shame, because you get to the last hurdle and you want the boys to be free and just go and express themselves, but it's hard. It's not easy to go out there and play against a team that's obviously very good. Yes, they weren't as good as what they've played in the past, but they're still there to win also.
Oh, Frankfurt, who knocked out Barcelona and
Exactly, West Ham, so you forget about
scoring some brilliant goals as well, but Rangers were ahead in the game. I mean, what a moment that was when Aribo scores.
And that goes back to you just think it was written in the stars with a mistake, and then Aribo goes through.
Having to play striker as well.
Have to play striker, goes through, shows brilliant composure, and scores, and then the place just erupts, and you genuinely sit there thinking that they're going to win this.
But they couldn't hold on for long enough, I don't think.
Aye.
And maybe a fraction of a second, if you like, from Connor Goldson, just maybe stalling, get caught in his heels a little bit. And the next thing you know, Boris scores. It's 1-0.
You mentioned it off air, you know, some of the legends that are remembered at this club for a long time, for decades. This would be the next group of legends that would be remembered for that long. So I just felt really gutted for them on a whole. I agree with Huts, the game itself wasn't great. And I think it typified what Rangers performed like through Europe away from home. I thought they did huff and puff in their away legs. I think if they played that final at Ibrox 20 times, they would win at 19.
Into extra time again. Rangers once again, even in that heat, found a way to finish the stronger. But that Ryan Kent moment, Kenny, right in front of where you're standing as well, because we were up that side, our broadcasting platform. I mean, you can see him probably off camera. It's in all the way, isn't it?
We could see it develop. You know, we can see Ryan Kent. He's going to get there. He's got about 25 yards to make up, but he's on his bike, and again, it's testament to their fitness, their desire to keep going right to the very end. As a forward player, or any player for that matter, on the end of that chance, he'll relive that moment for the next 20 years. By the time he'll be in, somebody will be talking about it, and he'll play it back. You know, it was like a out-of-body experience now, thinking back on it. That I see myself in that corner, I'm hanging off the railing, because I thought, this is it, and I'm hanging on. Coisty's on the other, he's leaning over, we're all drained. You know, we've been another 120 minutes into the game. Like I said, I don't know how the lads are feeling.
But they still take it to penalties. And, you know, you're thinking Alan McGregor, now we know it's not his last game, but it felt like it was fate, didn't it, and everything else. And he gets close to one, but the standard of the penalties, and look, we know Aaron Ramsey missed and he came off the bench, and unfortunately Aaron Ramsey was the one that missed for Rangers, but the standard of the penalties.
I'm very confident when Greaves is in goals and there's any penalty, it doesn't matter who's hitting it, I'm confident. And we were probably all the same sitting watching it. He's going to save one. So if Rangers can keep their cool, put the ball in the net, we'll win this. And speaking to him after it, he was just like, I didn't get close to any. And me watching it, it went the right way.
The one that went off the post, he had an incredible leap, just missed it.
For him to say that means it wasn't close to it in his eyes, because the power was there, the accuracy was there, he was never going to get a hand on it. Yeah, he went the right way, but in his mind he wasn't close to it. So fair play to them, they kept their cool, and it's a real shame. Ramsey, he came with a big expectation for the big moments. Well, it's difficult to even imagine, but I do feel for him, but it's just a shame Greaves going to get a hand on one.
The harsh reality is you can think about all the different parts of the journey and all the different parts of the game. The agony that followed that for the lads was painful to watch.
To lose that in that heat, in those conditions, in that fashion, I think more importantly, the psychological hurt that they must have felt. To go again in the Scottish Cup final, and you already mentioned earlier on the need to bring silverware back to Ibrox that season, but to go again and to go into extra time again against Hearts kind of blows your mind, doesn't it?
It does, but you know, it's when you're at these football clubs, you have to be wired right. You know, you have to. Disappointment, absolutely, and the lads will be gutted. There was so much put into that European journey, and every single one of them will be like us. They've been part of it. They know what's at stake. They know what it potentially means for them in relations to how they're standing at this football club, this great club, for years and years to come. And it's done. They've lost them penalty kicks, and you could see it. I mean, we were hurting, we were drained. I think all the fans, and again, just to touch on the fans, there was a lot, 9,000. Must have been 29,000 Rangers fans.
And now we know, by the
stadium.
way, about some of the conditions. Now, after the game, we found out about no water in the stadium and everything else.
Ridiculous, you know.
Ridiculous, brutal for them to go through.
All credit to them. I mean, they found their way to that stadium, and by the way, they found their way back to Hampden as well on the Saturday somehow. Yeah. And but by the way, turning up expecting. You know, they need to turn up and they need to win this now. Rangers had to win that cup, because had they not, for me, it would have been a failure of the season.
Yeah.
You know, and even there'll be some people that'll still even say, well, for where we were in the league and we never won the Europa League, well, because this club's built on winning, you know. But they had to turn up and not to win, and you know, it was slow at spells, you know, and it looked tough.
Yeah.
Hearts started pretty well. But again, I think Rangers took over after about 15, 20 minutes, and they'd gone into extra time. Getting the 2 goals in extra time was it just typified the kind of lively performance and the energies that they had shown over the course of that last 6-8 weeks of the season, going to extra time 3 or 4 times and coming out on top for the most part. You know, it was again testament to their characters and the desire to go and win, because they needed to win on that day by hook or by crook. They need to come away with that Scottish Cup, and they deserved it, to be honest, over the level of performance. They're the better team, but sometimes the best team doesn't always win.
Big for Gio as well to get a first piece of silver. But you're right what you say, Kenny, because the difference between what would have been a remarkable run to a European final that ultimately ends in pain and no trophies in the season, now being seen as, okay, it didn't happen in the league, and that was that's how they started, that was the goal. But to come away with winning the Scottish Cup and making a European final, the second time in 50 years?
Yeah, I think as anybody knows involved with Rangers, you have to win silverware. That's the minimum, is winning trophies. So of course it would have been under pressure, especially after 55. It was such an amazing moment for everybody involved in the club. We had to kick on and do it again. And Rangers weren't good enough when it comes to the domestic trophies. So to get the Scottish Cup is obviously a tick in the box.
First time they'd won it since 2009, I think.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then obviously a European final. So now it's about not just standing still. Yeah. The hardest thing is to go again, as we all know. So it's building on what they have to then become better as a team. But you know, as a Ranger, you have to win. As simple as that. Start of the season, we must win. We must win silverware.
Your 2 metres are almost up. You've got a training session. I've got a train to catch. I think we better call it a day. Guys, thank you very much. Enjoyed that. Great stuff.
Good man.
BT Sport Pods.